I always love visiting Germany. It reminds me of my earliest days in bodybuilding when I used to train in Munich. And I'm so happy to be here today at the Thomas Lloyd Clean Tech Conference Europe to talk about our shared vision of a green energy future. I can feel the promise, of course, in this room. I can see the energy here. I love walking into a room and sensing the passion and the energy and the resolve. I know that all of you are fired up to talk about how we can mold our vision of a green world into reality. I mean, when I was a little boy in Austria, all I could think about was to move to America and to be the greatest bodybuilding champion in the world and to make millions and millions of dollars and to be a leading man in the movies, an action hero and a big silver screen. All of my dreams became a reality. I was one of those fortunate ones, and much more. But I never dreamt that the biggest battle that I would be engaged in and entangled in would be in the real world, fighting for a green energy future. I know that we have a lot of clean energy ideas to discuss here today, but first, I would like to thank you all for something totally unrelated, because I know that all of you have already purchased your tickets to my new movie, Last Stand. So thank you very much. That's what I call synergy. Everyone is working together here. Now seriously though, I had a great time being back in the movie business. I mean, it's great to do all the action again, the fast chase scenes, the fight scenes, the shootouts, the explosions and all the action. But that's of course on a big screen. We are here today to celebrate the real action heroes that are fighting for clean energy. Those are the real action heroes. Your company helps empower those heroes. I can tell you that you can have the greenest and the most ingenious ideas in the world, but if you can't get someone to invest or to fund your ideas, you have absolutely nothing. You're done. Kaput. Terminated. So the Thomas Lloyd Group has invested billions of dollars in clean energy projects, from one of the biggest solar plants in the world in Ontario, Canada, to enormous biomass projects in the Philippines. I always think that the financial institutions who fund those ideas should be getting the same kind of a recognition as the heroes who invent them. You are all heroes. Let's give a big applause to all of you for the great work that you are doing. Now, we have trailblazers from around the world here who will tell you their prescription for success. But if you would allow me, I would like to start sharing mine. Because when I was elected governor, I said I wanted to clean the environment in California. What was the tradition, of course, in California, because California was always environmentally friendly, but at the same time to pump up the economy, because we can do both. We don't have to choose one or the other. But of course, environmentalists were a little bit suspicious. As a matter of fact, they protested on the beaches where I made my announcements. People called me a liar, and they said that I was just spewing false campaign promises. They didn't think that a conservative, a Republican, could care about the environment. But I believed in a new way of politics. In the old politics, issues were sharply divided along partisan lines. I rejected that. I realized right away that these divisions are maybe good for the political parties, but they do absolutely nothing for the people. It wasn't easy at first, I have to admit. When I said that I wanted to work on healthcare reform, they right away said, Arnold, this is not a conservative idea. Republicans don't get involved with healthcare. And when I started putting together a package on education reform, they said, Governor, education is not a Republican issue. Now you can already assume and guess what they said when I started pursuing a green energy future, a green energy agenda. It did not go over very well with my party. As a matter of fact, we had big fights. To me, it was very simple though. There aren't conservative roads or liberal roads. We all drive on the same roads. There isn't really conservative air or liberal air. We all breathe the same air. There isn't conservative or liberal water. We all drink the same water. I never believed that you can put people's lives into ideological corners. That's why my first lesson here today is, forget the old politics of division and partisan pickering. We can accomplish so much more with post-partisanship, keeping politics out of those kind of discussions and debates, where we put the people above the party. Let's not forget that politicians are public servants and not party servants. That's how we have accomplished everything that we did in California. Because we put together a great team with the public sector and the private sector, with Republicans and Democrats, community organizations and universities, and we all worked together. And believe me, there was a lot of action in California. I wouldn't have it any other way. From the tailpipe emissions reductions to the million solar roofs, to our renewable portfolio standard that is now at 35% in California, to building the biggest solar plants in the world and completing the first power line exclusively for renewable energy, to our historic climate change law, AB 32, where we made a commitment to reducing our greenhouse gases by 25% by the year 2020 and 85% by the year 2050. And we just held our first auction for carbon credits, and it was a major success. When we passed those laws, some experts thought that we were absolutely insane. You know how you have in everything the naysayers. It can't be done, you're going in the wrong direction, everything is wrong, you're going to fail, and all those things. They said it was actually Washington's job and not the states. The states had no business doing those kind of things. And I said, to hell with all that. That's the status quo. We want to go in a different direction. And you know something? We were right, and we were successful in California. As a matter of fact, the National Journal, a leading conservative magazine from Washington, recently wrote, when California enacted a tough clean air rule, reining in global warming pollution from vehicle tailpipes, the auto industry and its allies in Congress fought hard to have it overturned. And let me tell you, the auto industry did fight hard. As a matter of fact, all of the auto manufacturers sued me and the state of California. It was a major battle, and they thought they were going to win. But you know something? We won, because instead of that, 14 other states passed the tailpipe emissions rules modeled on California standards. And in May of 2009, the Obama administration followed California's lead and made our law nationwide. So that's the power that states have, that subnational governments have. And this is why I've been talking about that and promoting that. That brings me, of course, to my second lesson. The old way was to wait for the capitals or an international agreement to create a sustainable energy future. We believe in a new way, in moving forward at a sub-national level. We can't be paralyzed and wait for those capitals, whether you're waiting for an international agreement or for federal action or anything else. It is time for us to move full steam ahead. Hope for those things, yes, but don't wait on them. I hope there's an international agreement or Kyoto 2 just as much as anyone else. As you know, I love sequels. And I know that if anyone can bring all of the nations together, it's the UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon, who is a great leader and who is very passionate about this subject. We are here to help in any way we can. But there isn't just one path to a green energy future. There are many roads to take us there. I believe that we must continue to move forward at the subnational level, in the states, in the provinces, in the cities, the private sector, which is very important, the academic sector, the nonprofits, and even ordinary folks. We got to include the ordinary people because they are part of this movement, of this crusade. We should be defined by our movement, not by our hesitation. We have examples of this kind of movement all over the world. I mean, look at Oslo, Norway. They've cut energy use by 70% by using more efficient streetlights. Now think about that, just by using more efficient streetlights. Or Delhi, India, has converted all of their buses and all of their taxis to compressed natural gas, cutting emissions by 50%. They don't have to wait for an international treaty. The city made that decision. Or Burgenland, One of the states in Austria, they went from producing no electricity 16 years ago to producing all of their own electricity from clean wind power this year. Just within 16 years they made that change. And of course, all over Germany, you can see fantastic action. You are the world leaders on solar energy. That is absolutely incredible. And I have to say that as a Californian, I'm a little bit jealous about that. Because we in California always were trying to compete and try to produce the most solar power, and Germany was always ahead. But you know something? This is great. Thank you for giving us something to strive for and to lead. Thank you very much. Now, all of this action that I've just talked about sends a tremendous message to the world. Don't wait. Create your own action. It was in that spirit that we actually launched the R20, our international environmental organization, just last year. The R20 is all about action. It brings together regional governments, community organizations, and educational institutions to create strong green economies around the world. We are already moving forward full steam. We have secured $150 million, for instance, in financing a series of plants at the local level to convert sewage into biodiesel. We have secured financing for streetlight modernization in 3 provinces in 3 different countries. And we have worked with the region of Morocco to harness their incredible solar power. And one of our first projects, a simple green roof toolkit, has been used in 23 regions to cut energy use by an average of 18%, and the list goes on and on and on. We are spreading the great news about subnational projects to inspire more regions around the world to join us. I want everyone to know that they can accomplish what we did in California or what they are doing right here in Germany. Everyone can accomplish that. I want everyone to know that they don't have to wait for an international agreement or for federal laws to change. I want to spread this message all over the world. I am on a crusade on that, just as much as I was 40 years ago on spreading the good news about health and fitness and about working out and training with weights. Then, as you remember, everyone talked about is that when you work out with weights, you're going to get muscle bound. You're going to get stupid if you go to a weight room, or maybe turn gay, or there will be something wrong, or you die early of a heart attack. There's all of those kind of things, but by being out there decade after decade and talking to the people about why it is so important to work out every day, we finally won. And today, you see a gymnasium, every hotel in the world, it doesn't matter where you go, and every football team, every sports team, every university, every college, every high school, every fire station, every police station, every hospital has a therapy room with weight resistance training. I mean, that's what has happened now. Every military base, that's what has happened in the last 4 decades. We were successful, and this is why I know we're going to be successful also with this crusade to create a green energy future. Which brings me to my 3rd lesson. If we're going to inspire the world, it's time to forget about the old way of talking about climate change. See, it's all about communication. The old way is to crush people and to overwhelm people with data and with guilt. There's a new way. It's a more sexy and a more hip way. Instead of using doom and gloom and telling people what they can't do, we should make them part of our movement and tell them what they can do. I mean, I, for instance, still drive my Hummer. I love driving them. I would never give that up. But now they're powered on hydrogen and on biofuel. Or look at, for instance, the Tesla car, sports car. Looks terrific, all electric. Or the Mercedes, the new one that's coming out, the SLS, all electric and powerful. Or the Chevy Volt. These are just beautiful, luxurious cars, but they're clean cars. And those are just 3 of the hundreds of options that are out there, because almost every manufacturer now has a green model. So what a change if you think about it. Just a few years ago, all the car manufacturers sued us and didn't like what we were doing, and now all of a sudden they realized that's what the people want, and now they're building green cars. I love that change. That's why I say we are successful in the way we move forward, and we will be more successful in the future. We need to send a message that you can live the same life just with cleaner technology. With cleaner technology. You can still use your jacuzzi, just install a solar panel. You can still use your air conditioner or your heaters, just use a smart thermostat. You can still watch your flat screen TV, just use a model that is more energy efficient. The technology is there. And instead of lecturing people that they are part of the problem, we can inspire people to be part of the solution. That's people power, ladies and gentlemen. We know how well people power works. We have seen it in California and we have seen it in other places. People power is so important. The people have been our partners in California in converting energy and conserving energy and using clean sources of power for years. Because we have the people on our side. California now is 40% more energy efficient than the rest of the United States. Think about that. If the rest of the United States would be as energy efficient as California, we could be closing 75% of our coal-fired power plants. I mean, that is extraordinary. That's all Washington has to do. They don't have to go and start debating or figuring out how to create an energy policy in America. All they have to do is copy California. See, that's people power. That's why we are at this conference here today. That's why we will have conferences like this all over the world, because the more conferences that we have and the more we talk about this issue, the more we promote it and the more we send the signal out there and bringing people in and making them part of our crusade. We want to inspire people to discover their power and also to flex that power. When you walk away here today, I want all of you to remember those three things that I just talked about. Because those three things are extremely important. One, don't get stuck in ideological corners. Do what is best for the people. Be a public servant, not a party servant. And two, stop waiting for an international treaty or for federal action. Embrace the power of subnational governments. And three, stop telling people what they can't do. Tell them what they can do and enlist them in our movement. If we can do those three things and embrace this new way, make no mistake, we will move forward and we will be successful. We will break our dependence on fossil fuels and we will convince the world to embrace clean energy technology. And we will reach our goal of sustainable energy for all. I can't wait for that day. I can't wait to celebrate it with all of you. And I can't wait to tell our children that we were part of this great battle, of this great crusade. Not with swords, or with machine guns, or with bazookas, or anything like that, no. We will win this battle with our vision, with our passion, and with our resolve. So thank you very much for your attention. Thank you for your hospitality, and thank you for your great leadership. Thank you very much. Thank you.